May 16th, 2025. That date might just sound like another Friday.
Yeah, just another day for some.
But if you're turning the wheel for a living, it's actually a day with some real significance. We're taking a deep dive today into National Defense Transportation Day. Now, hold on. Before you tune out thinking this is just, another ceremonial nod.
Speak with us.
Yeah, stick with us. For truckers, this day shines a light on some truly crucial roles you play, way beyond just moving commercial freight.
That's absolutely right. What's fascinating about May 16th, I think, is how it pulls together so many different threads that affect the trucking world.
Like what?
Well, we've got a stack of information here. Everything from massive infrastructure projects, the latest fuel-saving tech in trucks, to the ongoing pressures at border crossings, and crucially, safety on our roads. It all kind of intersects.
And our goal today, our mission really, is to connect all that for you. We want you, the person actually out there making deliveries happen, to see how everything from a day honoring transportation in defense to the specifics of your rig and the routes you travel, how it impacts your daily life.
And maybe even more importantly, where you have opportunities to, steer your own course.
Exactly. So let's get rolling with National Defense Transportation Day.
Okay.
It might sound like something cooked up in a government office.
A bit formal, yeah.
But its roots are pretty practical, aren't they?
They really are. Back in 1957, President Eisenhower, and let's not forget, he had a pretty solid understanding of logistics from his military days.
Definitely.
He established this day. His thinking was that a robust transportation network isn't just about keeping store shelves stocked. It's absolutely essential for national security.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more. So it's not just about hauling goods for businesses. What's the direct link between what truckers do every day and keeping the nation secure?
Well, the connection is deeper than you might immediately think. Consider this. When disaster strikes, a hurricane rips through a region, there's a major flood, or even a public health crisis, like a pandemic, who's moving the critical supplies?
It's truckers.
Overwhelmingly, yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about food, clean water, fuel, and as we saw with COVID-19, personal protective equipment, PPE. It's truckers who are on the front lines of those relief efforts.
That's a powerful image. I remember during COVID, the highways might have been emptier in places, but those 18-wheelers were the lifeline keeping communities supplied.
Exactly. And the role extends beyond just responding to emergencies. The military relies significantly on civilian trucking companies and owner-operators,
Oh, interesting.
particularly those with the necessary security clearances to transport everything from ammunition and military vehicles to the everyday supplies needed on military bases.
Security clearances. So that opens up different kinds of work.
It can, yeah. These clearances typically involve background checks, and they can open up specialized and often well-compensated hauling opportunities with the Department of Defense. And let's not overlook the vast supply chain that underpins our defense capabilities. The jet fuel for aircraft, the regular supplies for military installations. Truckers are moving all of that essential freight.
So it sounds like truckers are a vital, often unseen part of the entire national security structure.
In many respects, that's absolutely true. And National Defense Transportation Day is, a moment to acknowledge that critical contribution.
So how is it acknowledged? Are there specific events?
Well, there aren't usually parades specifically for truckers, but you'll often see the military recognizing their freight partners. And the FMCSA, that's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
Right, part of the DOT.
Exactly. And the DOT itself might run campaigns. Even logistics companies often highlight their drivers on this day. It's more about recognition.
Okay. So how can truckers themselves mark this day or feel a part of it?
There are some straightforward ways. Many drivers will share photos of their rigs on social media using relevant hashtags, maybe sharing their own experiences of hauling essential freight during critical times.
That makes sense.
Supporting fellow drivers who are veterans is another meaningful way to connect the worlds of trucking and military service. And like we mentioned, for those looking at different types of hauls, it's worth remembering that the Department of Defense does have freight contracts available.
Okay, so the core message here is that truckers are much more than just drivers moving goods from point A to point B.
Absolutely. They are a fundamental pillar of America's transportation system and a truly vital component of our national defense.
Okay, let's shift gears now. May 16th, 2025 is also the starting gun for some major infrastructure projects. We're talking about the DOT's $3.2 billion investment.
Yeah, spread across about 180 projects nationwide.
That's a lot of projects.
It is. And this is where we start to see the tangible impact of investing in our transportation network, which is so crucial for the future of trucking.
So where's that money going?
Of that $3.2 billion, a significant chunk, around $1.4 billion, is dedicated to bridge projects.
Bridges are always a big one.
Always. Including a major one on the I-10 Mobile River in Alabama, a really key artery for freight. The funding also includes improvements to public transit systems and rail corridors.
Now, on the surface, that sounds like a win, better roads, fewer bridges that make you hold your breath, right?
Yeah, hopefully fewer of those.
How might that actually improve the day-to-day life of a trucker?
The potential benefits are significant. Better roads mean less wear and tear on your equipment, potentially fewer restrictions due to weight limits or bridge conditions, and ultimately a smoother, less stressful ride. Improvements in city transit systems can also help ease some of that notorious urban congestion,
Always a headache.
which makes local deliveries and drayage hauls, those short-distance moves, like port to warehouse, more efficient. Plus, the growth of intermodal opportunities, truck, rail, ship combinations, could open up new types of hauls for some drivers.
But we all know that big projects rarely go off without a hitch, right? What are some of the potential headaches or things truckers should be prepared for?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to balance the long-term vision with the immediate realities. These infrastructure projects mean construction zones.
Delays.
Almost always translates to delays, lane closures, and detours. There's also no guarantee that this funding will tackle every single trouble spot the truckers encounter. You know it is.
True. Some roads just seem like they'll never get fixed.
And realistically, once you have new and improved infrastructure, there's often increased attention on how it's being used. We could see more inspections down the line.
Right. You build it better, then you want to make sure everyone's operating safely and legally on it. Makes sense. Now, speaking of May 16th and infrastructure specifically impacting freight movement, there's also the Blue Water Bridge Plaza expansion kicking off that day.
Yes, the Blue Water Bridge.
That's a vital link for trade between the U.S. and Canada, right?
It really is. And what's fascinating here is seeing how these broader infrastructure investment trends play out at specific international crossing points.
So the Blue Water Bridge connects Michigan and Ontario.
Yep. It's one of the busiest commercial border crossings in North America. It was originally designed for a different level of traffic, and the sheer volume of trucks, over 1.5 million every year.
Wow, 1.5 million.
Yeah, it's led to consistent bottlenecks. Big time.
So this expansion is all about trying to unclog that. What exactly are they planning to build?
It's a pretty comprehensive upgrade. The plans include expanding the commercial truck staging lanes, trying to reduce those backups that spill onto the highways,
That'd be nice.
adding more inspection booths to speed up the processing of trucks, integrating better customs technology for faster digital checks,
Okay.
and even improving basic but important things like drainage and lighting for better safety. They're also going to resurface roads and reconfigure the traffic flow through the plaza.
That all sounds like it will be a huge improvement. Eventually.
Eventually is the key word.
Right. What's the immediate reality for drivers who regularly use that route?
Well, in the short term, some level of disruption is almost unavoidable. Construction zones, lane closures, will be part of the process.
So more delays for a while.
Border wait times might fluctuate, yeah. And there will likely be temporary detours affecting how you navigate the plaza. It's also worth remembering that congestion on the U.S. side can easily back up and affect traffic flow on the Canadian side, too. It's all connected.
So for any truckers who run that route regularly, the name of the game will be planning ahead, using those trucker apps for real-time traffic updates.
Definitely.
And maybe keeping an extra dose of patience handy.
A big dose, probably.
Okay, let's switch gears again and talk about something that hits every trucker right in the wallet. Fuel efficiency.
Always a hot topic.
There's been some buzz around the top 5 most fuel-efficient semi-trucks of 2025. What's the story there?
This is where technological advancements really come into play in helping to manage those ongoing operating costs. Leading the pack, although still in the prototype stage, is the Navistar SuperTruck 2.
SuperTruck 2.
Yeah, it impressively achieved 16 miles per gallon in testing.
16 mpg. That sounds almost revolutionary for a semi-truck.
It is pretty revolutionary. It offers a glimpse into the future with its hybrid electric powertrain. That's a system that combines a traditional engine with an electric motor and battery, and its super aerodynamic design.
But it's a prototype, you said, not something you can buy.
Not just yet, no.
Yeah.
But it definitely signals where the industry is heading. In terms of trucks you can actually buy now, the Freightliner Cascadia Evolution is a strong performer, often getting over 10 mpg in real-world use.
Okay, 10 mpg is still really good.
It is.
Yeah.
And the Volvo VNL 860 and the Kenworth T680 Next Gen are also in that 9 to 10 mpg range. They offer a good balance of fuel efficiency and other features.
And what about electric?
Ah, yes. Then, of course, there's the electric Tesla Semi. While it's facing its own challenges with charging infrastructure and things like that,
Yeah.
it boasts an energy efficiency equivalent to over 20 mpg compared to diesel.
So whether it's through these really innovative designs or just gradual improvements to existing models, fuel efficiency is a major focus for manufacturers. But it's not just about having the latest truck, is it? Driver habits still matter hugely.
Oh, absolutely. As the reports emphasize, even with the most advanced technology, driver habits are still critical. Simple things,
Like what?
like making sure your tires are properly inflated, using synthetic oils, planning your routes efficiently to avoid unnecessary miles, and minimizing idling.
Hmm.
It all adds up.
So you can save significant fuel costs just by driving smarter.
Exactly. It's about taking control of what you can influence, whether you're driving a brand new truck or one with few more miles on it. Every bit helps, the bottom line.
Okay, we've looked at infrastructure and technology, both areas that have the potential to make a trucker's life a bit smoother, at least eventually.
Well,
But let's also address some of the ongoing challenges that can create stress and even put drivers at risk. The story about the deadly I-75 crash involving troubled trucking firm, that really brings some serious safety issues to the forefront.
yeah, that was a tragic incident. And it serves as a stark reminder that not all trucking companies operate with the same level of commitment to safety.
And the company involved had a history.
That's what the reports indicate, yeah.
Hmm.
A documented history of safety violations, which raises really important questions about how safety regulations are enforced and who is being held accountable.
Why should a story like this, even though it's about one specific company, be something that all truckers should pay attention to?
Because the actions of companies that cut corners on safety can have a ripple effect across the entire industry. It impacts how the public views truckers as a whole.
Paints everyone with the same brush.
Exactly.
Oh.
It can contribute to downward pressure on freight rates because less scrupulous operators can sometimes afford to undercut those who invest properly in safety.
I hadn't thought about the rate connection.
And it often leads to increased regulatory scrutiny that affects everyone, even the safest and most responsible drivers.
So it feels like one bad actor can really tarnish the reputation of everyone else out there doing it right.
Precisely. And the article likely touches on some of the underlying issues, such as potentially weak enforcement of existing safety rules, the ongoing problem of chameleon carriers.
What are those again?
Those are trucking companies that shut down after safety violations and then quickly reopen under a new name to avoid scrutiny.
Wow, that shouldn't be allowed.
It's a persistent problem. And then there's a constant pressure on drivers to meet tight delivery schedules, which can sometimes lead to unsafe driving practices.
So what can an individual driver actually do when faced with these kinds of systemic problems? It can feel like a huge issue that's beyond any one person's control.
Well, while addressing these systemic issues requires broader action, individual drivers do have more power than they might think.
How so?
It starts with doing your homework, checking a company's safety record through the FMCSA's safety measurement system, the SMS tool.
Before signing on.
Absolutely, before you sign on with them. It also means being willing to refuse to operate under unsafe conditions, even if there's pressure from dispatch.
That can be tough, though.
It can be, but it's your license and potentially your life on the line. Documenting any safety concerns you encounter is also crucial. And ultimately, it's about proactively planning for a better future. By seeking out reputable carriers known for their safety records or exploring opportunities to become an owner-operator and have more control over your own operations. You know, like we've heard from folks like Hervey at Life as a Trucker.
Right, he talks about that.
Yeah, focusing on helping drivers navigate their careers on their own terms, taking control.
That really connects back to that idea of taking control of your career path and your financial stability rather than just feeling like you're at the mercy of the industry's ups and downs.
Exactly.
Now, looking ahead, there's also the Section 232 probe into truck imports. This sounds like something that could have some pretty significant long-term effects. What is this?
This is indeed a development that could potentially reshape the landscape of truck manufacturing and purchasing here in the U.S. Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act. It's basically a piece of legislation that allows the government to investigate whether certain imports pose a threat to national security.
Okay.
In this case, the investigation is specifically focused on imported trucks, including both heavy-duty Class 8 trucks and medium and light-duty vehicles, as well as various truck parts and components.
National security. How do imported trucks and parts tie into national security? That seems like a stretch.
Well, the government's rationale seems to be based on a few key concerns. One is the issue of supply chain dependency.
Ah, like we saw during the pandemic.
Exactly. When delays in imported parts cause disruptions to repairs and sideline trucks, there are also concerns about relying on foreign suppliers for critical transportation infrastructure, especially in times of international tension or political instability.
Okay, I can see that angle.
And finally, there's the argument of supporting domestic U.S. manufacturers who contend that they face unfair competition from cheaper imports.
So the period for public comments on this has now closed. What are some of the potential outcomes that truckers might see if this probe leads to action? What could happen?
If the government determines that these imports do pose a national security risk, the most likely outcome would be the imposition of tariffs, essentially taxes on imported goods or other types of import restrictions.
And what would that mean for drivers?
It could directly lead to an increase in the price of new trucks, because many components, even in trucks assembled here in the U.S., are sourced globally.
Right. So prices go up.
We could also see used truck prices potentially rise as well. Additionally, there might be fewer different truck models available to buyers in the U.S. market.
Fewer choices.
Yeah, some manufacturers might limit their shipments here or simply pass the increased tariff costs on to consumers. The cost and availability of replacement parts could also be affected, particularly for trucks that rely heavily on imported components.
Ouch. It sounds like this could really put the squeeze on owner-operators and smaller trucking fleets.
That's a valid concern, absolutely. While U.S. truck manufacturers and labor unions generally support this probe, hoping it will lead to increased domestic production and jobs,
Sure.
fleet owners and independent drivers are understandably worried about the potential for higher equipment costs and fewer choices when it comes to buying and maintaining their trucks.
It's that thing Hervey from life, as a trucker often points out, isn't it? You have to look at these issues from all sides.
Exactly right. Understand the potential impacts from every angle.
So this uncertainty surrounding truck imports is yet another reminder of why having some control over your income and your future in this industry is so vital.
It really is.
Which brings us to the idea of time management. And we're not just talking about meeting delivery deadlines for shippers here.
No, not just that.
It's also about strategically investing in yourself during your off-duty hours.
That's a really crucial point. Your downtime isn't just time to rest, though rest is vital.
Of course.
It's also a valuable opportunity to invest in your long-term well-being and financial security. As resources like retirefromtrucking.com and truckersidehustle.com highlight.
Yeah, we've seen those.
Exploring ways to learn new skills and develop online income streams during your off-duty time can create a significant safety net for the future.
It's about creating those additional streams of income, right? Something that can act as a buffer against the unpredictable nature of freight rates and the broader economic landscape.
Exactly. Building a recurring online income can give you the flexibility to decide when you want to retire, maybe sooner than you thought.
Or just provide a cushion.
Yeah, provide a financial cushion if your trucking company faces difficulties or if unexpected expenses arise. It's about taking proactive steps to feel more secure and supported.
By building your own future.
Exactly. Building your own future rather than solely depending on the often volatile trucking industry. Taking control.
So, to bring everything together, today's deep dive has really shown how a range of seemingly separate events, from National Defense Transportation Day to investments in roads and bridges, advancements in truck technology, the efficiency of border crossings, ongoing safety concerns, and potential shifts in truck imports.
But they're all connected.
They are all interconnected and have tangible impacts on your life and your livelihood as a trucker.
And the key message, I think, is the importance of staying informed and considering these issues from multiple angles, like Hervey says.
Yeah.
Having a brighter understanding of these trends empowers you to make more informed decisions for your business and your career.
Yeah.
It helps you feel more respected and supported because you're taking charge.
So here's a final thought for you to take with you. As the transportation world continues to evolve and change, And it's always changing.
Always.
Are you actively charting your own course towards long-term security and independence? Are you making the most of your unique skills and experiences both on and off the road?
It's really about getting in the driver's seat of your own future, isn't it?